Oh, wow.
Saw it twice, so I was like, oh my god.
That was just weird.
I always used to see a light coming up,
Yeah.
like a headlight, but there was nobody there.
Oh, it's just disappeared.
Hello everybody, welcome to Truth Proof on a Sunday night, and might be the last one before we move into 2026, but great to see you guys here. As always, thanks for support tonight and throughout the year. Tonight, Lee, who's normally at the other side of this, helping with moderating, is going to come on, just share a few of his thoughts and some of the things that he's been doing over last year, so that will be good. And Ian's going to join us again, who's joined us intermittently throughout the year, and is on cliff tops as much as I am. He's out in these areas, so it's only fair. I would have got Pete on, but he'll be sat here watching this. You'll not get Pete on. And Jeremy and rest of people, but you know, not everybody wants to come on a live stream, do they? Let's face it. But we've all got a few things to share. So your show tonight, guys. We want questions in capital letters. And where's the platform gone? We weren't there. Oh, I've got it now. Somebody's just put, where's the platform gone? We'll cover that one in a minute. We'll let Ian touch on that as well. So, yeah, absolutely. Really looking forward to spending next hour, 2 hours with you guys and sharing some information and reading your questions out. Before we do that, just want to say sad news this week. On 19th, Derek Tyler passed away. If anybody knew Derek or knew of his research, you know, a great loss to subject to unexplained phenomena. Lots and lots of people were kind of frightened of Derek, basically because of the knowledge that he had. Other researchers, should we say. Nobody wanted to give him a platform because he just blew everybody else away. His knowledge was absolutely incredible. He wrote Alien Contact, The Difficult Truth, and Alien Contact, Paradigm Shift. I think that's titles at books, and great friend. Whenever I wanted to know anything or a bit of advice, I would ask Derek. And as you know, we lost Howard Hughes in November of 2024. So yeah, not, you know, we're not dwelling on sadness, are we? But just need to say a few words for them people. Right, okay, let's have a look here. And Clifftop Pete's in. There he is. And Karen Behrman, Tom Waters. Good to see you, Tom. I hope we can meet up this Christmas. Rocket Thudder. Let's have a look. Sober Carper. Gareth Dixon. Linda Met. Chrissy Phillips. I've done Sober Carper. And it's me. This Dragonborn Rising. Good to see you. Jack Newcastle. Let's have a look. And I'm limited with, you know, with the names that I've got coming up here. Ian Abbott, Scotch Mist, Jan and Andrew, Linda. We'll probably do a bit more of a name shout out later, but let's get Ian and Lee in no particular order. So I'll bring Ian in here. Now then, Ian, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Paul.
Yeah, good. So we'll just kick a few ideas about and take some questions off people for next hour or two, and we'll get Lee in as well. All right, Lee.
Hey, you all right?
Yeah, really good,
It's
mate.
saving the best to last.
Well, there's nobody else, I don't think, is there? No, it's great to see you. You've helped us all year, all us there doing moderating, and we really appreciate it. And
real pleasure.
I've seen you a couple of times this year as well, haven't we? You know, you've been up and around area kind of thing, so why not? So we'll jump into it with you then, Lee. So what got you interested in unexplained phenomena?
Basically, the Unexplained magazines, that's where I would base it from. I found a load, and I kind of had a little bit of a mooch through, and there was just kind of stories kept popping up, but also as well, the famous one, the Patterson Gilman film came out. Sorry, the film was advertised in the actual magazine, and where he actually found the magazine at my granddad's, there was a wood in front of it. So you were only young at the time when he passed away, and we were actually clearing the house out at the time. So you kind of look at the magazine and then turn around, look outside in the window, and said, does that belong in there? And you know, it doesn't think, and then you read on and there's like, you know, UFO stuff. I mean, it covers everything, ghosts, you know, I mean, it was an amazing magazine really at the time. But that's really what triggered it off with the back of your mind, and then you kind of carry on through life. And then but it was always there. It was always like kept coming up. And then when I started my own business, I kind of started a bit relaxing when it took off. And I kind of took a bit more interest in it. And that's where it basically was where I am today, to be honest. It's just, I think it's fascinating, Paul. You know, it's fascinating.
What do you reckon, Ian?
Yeah, I mean, I've met Lee quite a few times over the years now, and he's, you're really enthusiastic and really want to be involved in it and dig in. So, yeah, good on you. It's always a pleasure and a laugh to meet you.
Yeah, it is.
I would say the same too.
Well, no, it's good when you come up, Lee. You know, you're always positive, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? You know. After
but I'm only positive, Paul, because I'm meeting positive people.
Well, that's good. Thanks. We try to be. You know what I mean? Sometimes it doesn't always work, but we try. When you found that magazine, then did you go into that woodland after you'd looked like as a little lad or exploring, looking for it?
No, I didn't really. No, but it's like I say, you always put something. There's always something. It's like the paranormal. When something happens in the paranormal world, it sticks in your brain for some reason. And that's what tells you there's something out of the norm. It's not right. And that's what it did, you know. And then you kind of, like I say, you start watching programs, you know. There were different programs on at the time. I know it was the early stages, but I can't think off my head what they were called.
It don't matter. It's
you know what I mean? You kind of take it and then you just take it from there, really. It's just, I don't know. And I just got gradually more into it in a way, really.
So if you had to choose a subject or a genre within Unexplained, then that you'd be more interested in, what would it be? Or is it all of it?
I would say more cryptid. But when I first kind of started getting into it, I would have thought more UFO.
Yeah.
That kind of side. But I'm a bit like you, that when people are coming forward, like Michael with his accounts, basically at Dane's Dyke, you can't weigh it up. You know, I mean, I've met Michael when we were with Chris Turner, and he kind of stopped us the last night in the cottage, and he just wouldn't. And no disrespect to Michael, I know he watches and everything, and I understand it. But
Michael's having a go at you
about it. You know, he never really shut up, and I knew then that something had switched his mind, and he kind of couldn't understand. You know, it's like that night I had at Benton Cliffs. Every day I think of it. It's weird, but it's just very strange. I just found it fascinating. It's just fascinating.
Well, Ian's same as me. Like, but Michael's a really genuine bloke, and is what you see is what you get on tin kind of thing. Into Ian, you know.
Yes, I've said before, like Michael is a nice, honest bloke, and like what Lee says is you can tell he's been touched by something. He's had an experience which it's not just something that's happened; it's something that's profound happened to him. And like all of us, like what Lee was saying earlier on, that he's looking into it when he was younger in the magazines, and it gets under your skin. But when myself speaking as well, is when you've actually seen something, you get touched by something, and it just becomes part of you, and you just want to be involved in it. I mean, some of the nights that I can't get up onto the cliffs, I feel quite guilty that I'm not up there, and then I also feel I'm missing out on something. It just drags you in, and the more you see, the more it drags you in, and you just want to understand it. And it does start to take over a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it does.
It's infectious, isn't it? It is. It's infectious, and I think a lot of people in chat will relate to that, what Ian's just said. You know, because I'm the same. Sometimes I think, do we not going up there tonight? I've been rushing about all over, but you're actually frightened. You're going to miss out on something, just like Ian said. You know what I mean? It's and it's that rare. We talk about it. We had a little bit of an event a couple of weeks since, Ian, and which we'll touch on in a moment. But it's that rare that, but when it happens, you're sort of hooked, and it carries you through till next month or 6 months or next day, whatever. You know what I mean? It's like little clusters of events. It's interesting.
It's addictive. That's the thing. It is really addictive.
Yeah, and I
But
should
you can't
imagine.
put your finger on why. That's the thing. What gets me.
I
So
would
like, I
agree.
always keep thinking, well, why is the paranormal there? Why does it have to be there?
Would it be there if it weren't for us? Would it be there without us? Do you
It's
know
like we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, Paul, about is it something to do with emotions, which I kind of was
to do with
getting
us?
to that side of things. Yeah, it runs off of your emotion. I mean, why would people from another whatever or inner world come to abduct us?
Mm.
Why would they do that if they're more into the future and they know more technology? What do they find off us? What they find? What, you know, when you hear of people being abducted and then operated on, what they're looking for? If they're from the future, they know what we're made of.
Mm.
I can't, you know, it's just.
But how do we know the front future, Lee? And how do we know some aspects of it aren't low intelligence?
Mm.
Some aspects of the phenomena could be extremely low intelligence, but have some kind of superpower, some kind of super skill. And Ian knows where I'm going with this, and I'm sure other people will. But it mimics what we're doing, and it'll lead us on to the question other night. So what if all it's doing is, what if, let's imagine it can read our thoughts or even read our body language and just about predict what we're going to do? What if it's just mimicking? What if that's all that's happening? I mean, Ian, just mention, if you want, about Jack about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I can't remember the date.
I think it'd be 2 weeks on Friday because he'd just come back from Brazil, hadn't he, earlier on in the week. And he turned up on the cliff tops. Pleased to see him, you know what I mean? And he was more than pleased to be there. I mean, he'd been messaging us since, you know, he's been on holiday in a beautiful place like Brazil, but he couldn't wait to get back to go freeze his nuts off, let's say, on the northeast coast of, you know what I mean? It's not warm, and sometimes it isn't pleasant, is it? But yeah, he turned up the other night. We'll touch on where we was his particular area that we've been going on and off for a long time now. They've altered it a bit because that particular platform area is starting to get rotten. So the RSPB people have removed it, sort of put a temporary fence there, and we're stood behind where it used to be on the path. We're looking around and a few little bits and pieces, and then Jack just says to me, he says he couldn't suss out how to get the replay on his Cyanix camera. I mean, I'm no expert with a Cyanix camera, but I had an idea. So while I was explaining it to Jack, I says, just go to this, go to that. So I'm in mid-flight talking to him, you know, giving him directions. And then I'm saying he because as far as I'm concerned, at the time, it was Jack's voice that just.
And Chris Mack was there, weren't he?
There was Chris Mack, Daz, which is Chris Mack's mate, me and you. Was Pete weren't there, was he?
Pete weren't there. He
weren't there. He'd gone to Barnsley, hadn't he? And then I think it just between us, I mean, was really fairly tight knit. You know, was all of us had fitted in an 8 foot circle, let's say. And then Jack just says, I think it was, how you been keeping then, Chris? And it was like, what? And I felt like saying, hey, you ignorant sod, I'm bloody talking to you. Do you know what I mean? And you're asking Chris Mack. But one thing that we haven't touched upon, which I've been thinking about it today, was strange, is what you said to him, because you just came straight out and says, why did you say that?
I know. I instantly, your mind's working overtime, and a little thought rushed into my mind. What's he on about? He's just been talking with Chris for going on an hour. They've had a conversation, and then he suddenly goes, how are you keeping then, Chris? As the good mates, they've just been talking. So no disrespect to Jack, you know, because he's one of his best friends, but we're just saying it as it is.
Yeah.
But go on, Ian, finish it.
So you just shouted that out to him, and he went, well, I didn't say now. And Chris Mack says, you did. And I said, yeah, something did. Yeah, I mean, and it was, no, I haven't said nothing. I didn't say anything. But it was Jack's voice. It wasn't far away. It wasn't shouting. It was just the same tone as he'd been talking earlier. And it's 100% Jack's voice, but it didn't come out of his lips. He
No.
was adamant that he'd. And unfortunately, we had Chris Mack had a lock off camera, as you did in the background. But unfortunately, it was too far away to pick the audio up of what was being spoken. You've tried your best to try and lift it.
I tried to clean it.
But it was definitely there.
But if we'd have cleaned it up and had it to play tonight, all we'd have been playing were a voice that sounded like Jack, who was with us, saying, "Oh, you're keeping then, Chris." And so anybody listening to this, I realise that you're not there when we're having these weird experiences. So you could be just thinking, well, he's probably said it, and you guys are that gullible and naive that you've just believed him. But no, it was Jack. It sounded like Jack. We've heard my name on numerous occasions called out. You've heard me do the one where I've been with Pete, and straight between us, Paul. And he'll go, "Did they hear that?" He said the name. So he's shifting a little bit. So hence we could come back to, don't mean we're right, the mimic, the low intelligence. It's trying to copy us and might be trying to communicate certain aspect of the phenomenon. It might be something that nobody's even wants to even consider. But I've noted, and Ian said the same, we've all said it, we were having a period where we saw that like dark shape of a man or a woman, just flitting about in the darkness. And then suddenly that were happening regular, probably a month, 6 weeks, Ian,
If not longer. I mean, it went where it got, fairly regular, where there's only Mark, possibly Jack, that hasn't seen it. And sometimes there's quite a lump of people up there. I mean, sometimes there's been 12 people up there. And people who don't come up there regular, but then
Cal, he's seen it.
Told us, Cal saw it and turned around and said, "Yeah, I've just seen something." I mean, your Gemma's Gemma's boyfriend saw it.
He saw it, and we were leaving car park when Gemma said to me, "Darren, tell me, Dad, what you saw." And then so I stopped car because Jeremy hadn't set off. I says, "You've got to listen to this." He knew nothing about it. Do you know what I mean? He'd only come. It was the first time I'd actually met him. He'd only come up just for weekend with Gemma. I don't know whether she's doing moderating. I hope she is, but otherwise we're on his own tonight in here.
You see, I know you're saying that it's only us that's speaking this because we're the only people who's going up there. We're trying to catch things on camera, audio, thermal, or whatever it is. But there's a good possibility that a few weeks ago you put a shot on when Jeremy was further down the cliffs with his thermal, and he is a shape of what looks to be a person with potentially some sort of like a rucksack or something on the back. That was further down. But he shone his torch on it and there was nothing there. And I know fair enough was going to talk about this potentially. In some of the, after you put that little short video up, there was some comments in there saying about why didn't you go and look? He did go and look, and where it was it wasn't on the cliff edge. Jeremy was closer to the cliff edge. It was inland. He could see it against the background. So when he got up, I need to go have a look at this. Put his torch on. There's nothing, and he carried on and he walked up to where it had been. There's no way a person could have disappeared into, if it was a flesh and blood thing, into where it was. It wasn't an animal. We're fairly versed at what animals and other things look like in the dark. But could that have been what we see with our naked eyes, this shadow thing, that's somehow been managed to caught on a thermal camera?
It's possible because even ink signature didn't look as strong as the ink signature of a person or an animal, but you've definitely got that shape of a person. As somebody put in a comment, when we put it up on YouTube, that it's the signature of somebody who was there and now they've gone. You don't get the heat signature on cliff tops or anywhere in the air. That if you put your hand on a stone and leave it on and take it off and look with a thermal, you'll see imprint to your hand. But you don't see imprints of heat signatures of people who've been walking about. Do you know what I mean? You've got to have an actual physical presence there or something. So it's interesting. So I see Carl Dan were in, and I think Mrs. Slinny's in, and Mia Girl, Janice Yoddles, Mag Sue, Karen. We've done Karen. Doc Martin, good to see you, Martin. Steve Collin. Let's just take this before we carry on. Let's have a look. Technology. I can't even read that. Is there any connection between ancient stone circles and paranormal activity? If we throw net out a bit wider to burial mounds and earthworks, I would say so.
Yeah, there's got to be, aren't they? There's a reason for them being there, and I'm beginning to think, like I have done for a long time, that it's something that's possibly happened in that area. So they've actually put this to either show the people that it's there, or is it like, I don't know. I don't know what the best way to say it would be.
They could have actually been. If we see these things, we're in awe of it, aren't we, Ian? Let's face it, Lee, we are, aren't we?
Definitely.
So can you imagine an ancient people who probably sit around a fire and hunter-gatherers, and then they see this incredible light or presence. They might drop to their knees and worship it. They might put some kind of mound there for that reason.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I was lost for words then, which is quite unusual for me, really. But yeah, so I think they've potentially put something there to say it's been here, like as a shrine to it, let's say. Or have they put something there to evoke something? Who's to know? I mean, they go back thousands of years, don't they? But there's definitely,
but there is a lot of truth in it. I mean, Lee came in. We went to Wycombe Forest, and we were near a group of burial mounds. I think there were 3 called the Tremblers. The 3 Tremblers. I don't know where that name come from, but it's on old maps as named as that as well. And we went in specifically to speak to Paul Daw. Can you remember, Lee?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, nice lad. Nice lad.
Yeah, I spent some time in there, and
very genuine guy.
Yeah. Did you take out from that visit? What did you find? How did you find it?
Well, I mean, I was a bit shocked because it was previously a doorman, wasn't it?
Paul.
Yeah.
I probably were, yeah.
Probably. And I was a bit shocked because he was even, I mean, I don't know, I can't remember now how long it was since he had the encounter.
No, that were rare. It were rare that
when you were talking to him, he still looked shaken up by it, but really shaken up. Still thinking, like overthinking, what could it have been? What could you could see it definitely in him. It was a good night, that, apart from the rain.
Well, we'll just briefly touch on it because I mean, when we go into one of these again, I mean, Ian will have to come in and if he wanted to, but it were Paul, Ray, and I think there were 2 other lads that had gone in for a bit of wild camping. He teaches bushcraft, Paul, and during day as they're gathering all the gear for the night, wood, and making themselves a decent camp, all of them, unbeknown to each other, had been seen like a little glimpse of something. Like a flash. We all get it, peripheral. Did I really see that? Usually you have if you think you've seen it. So one of them said, has anybody noticed words to that effect? And suddenly all 4 of them or 5 of them said, yeah, I've seen it. So they'd seen it. They'd made the camp. And then during the night, they could all see it. They don't know whether it was one. Paul will correct me if he listens to this, or whether it was one that were very fast. Literally flying tree to tree, or more than one. But they were just like what we've been looking at on cliff tops, just the shapes of men, just the dark shape. But then they sat there relaxing, and it's Ray who used to work the doors. Ray's sort of sat back at the fire. He says, and he felt a hand. So there's a physical, even though there's an invisibility. And he felt a hand grab I think it's not his neck, but his collar, and a knuckle turn and press into his neck and just pulled him backwards. He went flying backwards. And so that was their experience. And he on reflection, he doesn't think it meant harm. He thought it were playful. I'm sure that's what they said. They didn't sit in terror all night. They were in awe of what had just happened. And all the other lads said Ray flew backwards, and Ray said what he felt. Someone physically grab hold of the back of his shirt or whatever, hoodie. But before it pulled him, it turned and put its knuckle into the back of his neck and pulled him backwards. But there's nothing there to see apart from this invisible presence. Fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the other thing is, like we said, the emotions. Why would that put a feeling in his head that it didn't mean any harm?
Well,
Where'd
I
you
don't
get
know.
that from? Do you know what I mean? But everybody who has a thing says, "Oh, I didn't feel frightened at the time." You know, it must. There's some trigger to it somewhere.
Well, maybe
On an
I don't
event.
know. Maybe they're different people. What did Jeremy say when he saw that shape, Ian? He weren't.
No, he won't. There was nothing. He said he wasn't frightened at all. He wasn't frightened at all. But only a couple of weeks before and a few days beforehand, he'd said he'd felt where he'd gone towards where that been. This is before he'd seen it, and someone was telling him this ain't right. So he turned around and went back. He said, I didn't want to go any further forward. There was just something telling me something didn't feel right. And that happened a few times. Then he'd finished up seeing what he saw. And he's been back there since. And it's been fine. And then he's been back again. And he's only got so far again. And he's turned around and come back. Because again, and this is after he'd seen what he'd seen. So this happened before he'd seen it, after he'd seen it. But while he'd seen it, he said he felt fine. He was all right.
It's strange, isn't it? You know, just the different feelings that people get. It never ceases to amaze me. There's a fella that comes up onto cliffs probably 2 or 3 times a year to us. All us like being in his company, and that's Dominic, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a nice bloke. He is. Yeah,
and he's. I think they've got a caravan at Attic, which will be about 15 mile away. Perhaps I'm not sure exact distance, but you're 12, 15 mile. They came to caravan to close it down for winter. That's what he said. And he'd gone up to cliff tops. Normally, he either turns up in dark to us or he's in dark when we get there. And he only comes, 3 or 4 times a year. He messaged as we got there, say he'd been down early, didn't even get down path. He were just spooked. Something just spooked him. He just didn't want to go, which is unusual for that fella, We've never heard that from him.
I mean, he comes a long way as well, doesn't he? I think he's from Sheffield, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
So instead of just coming down and hanging about and waiting for us because he wasn't sure that we was going to be going. But he said I wasn't hanging about. He didn't want to stay. And it frightened him, hadn't it?
Absolutely. I'll just put this on. So Dragonborn's put round of applause for Lee and the other mods, which is Gemma and Alison, for keeping this rabble in order. That's me and you, that Ian, rabble. But thanks, Dragonborn, you're spot on.
Yeah, thank you.
And, it's good and appreciate that. I don't know whether we've got any questions here, but let's have a look. We've done ancient stones. That one came up again. Everyone, sorry, I was on the phone. Alison, good to see you, Alison. You what, Lee?
I'm just thinking now, you're on about going back to the cliff tops, on about Jack's voice. Well, exactly, that's what AI can do, copy people's voices.
Yeah. Well, there's another thing. I mean, we'll touch on this. The strange things happening with the phones.
Yeah.
And it's not imaginary. It's not imaginary when Pete rings me and we're talking. Are you going up there tonight? And then he's got his phone on speaker, and you can hear Pete's wife in background saying, "Oh, well, that," and somebody shouted on phone. And Ian's heard it. I've heard it. We've heard it on my auntie's phone. I don't think there's any conspiracy here. I don't know. I don't know what the answer or what the reasoning is for that, or how it could even be possible. But we're hearing voices on phone. It's really strange.
Have you spoke to Chris Wright about it?
I spoke to Chris. He just can't understand why it could be happening. And a reason for speaking to Chris is obviously he works phones and connections. Yeah, and he doesn't know. No, it's a strange one.
Multiple times, hasn't it?
Yeah,
it's not always the same people. I mean, quite often I'll bring you and I'll stick it on speakerphone or whatever. I'm buggering about doing whatever, and I've heard different voices and whatever that comes across. But one of the ones that's does sound quite sinister to me is what Pete said. Well, again, you was on speakerphone and his wife heard it, and it just said it was in a real gravelly voice saying, "Ignore him."
Yeah, ignore him.
Ignore him.
Yeah. I think my wife. Do you know me?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. So when she brings you a cup of tea, and she
ignore him. Yeah, but no, it's strange.
So it's something of an intelligence listening in, then, isn't it?
Yeah, or something that's trying to just unnerve us and I don't know, just throw a spanner in works. And I don't know how they do it, but it shouldn't be. I don't think any of that would be too hard. But I don't think we're touching on anything that's potentially sensitive, do you? You know, we've got some great footage, so potentially, I suppose, if people thought they're going to capture something eventually up there that's really lifted lid, they're up there enough, they're dedicated enough. You know, anybody that'll stand up there 3 to 5 days a week in rain, cold, ice, and everything, usually for no reward, there's a bit of a dedication there, isn't there? You know, so you know we do try, but
Yeah,
I don't
but
know.
Lenny's always already captured something amazing.
Yes,
Probably
yeah,
one
absolutely.
of the best UFO sightings of, well, whatever, because we know it's coming from a very genuine person of Lenny. I mean, that is just out of this world, that what Lenny caught.
If it were ungenuine, then it implicates us all because we were all there when he filmed it. So I'd back him absolutely 100%. There's nothing tampered we had done there. It was first day. I haven't got footage to hand to show you guys tonight, but it was first day he'd brought the camera out, brought the thermal out here, weren't it?
Yeah.
And I know we've done this, and it might bore some people, but when you think about it, if you want to talk about Rendlesham Forest, there's people that have talked it for the last 30 years, and we're only rehashing this one because it's relevant and it's really good. And he's captured something there that can't be more than 6 foot off bloody ground. And
yeah, it is. I mean, I didn't realise the significance of it at the time, like I've said on quite a few of the past live streams, but I'm just pleased that I did manage to catch it. But I'm also a bit disappointed in myself that I took the thermal away from it to look at you lot, and when I looked back, it had gone. I mean, I don't really have got that image, potentially that image of that thing that I think I've called "What's This in the Woods?"
In the woods.
Yeah.
I'll have to have a look for that one in a bit, Ian. But I tell you what, we'll throw this image out, see what people think to this. Something over at sea that's come off of Ian's thermal camera. And I'm not moving questions, guys. So if you actually tell me what you think it is, I might not even get to it. I'm not being ignorant, but if I start going through questions, I'll be asking the same ones over and over again. Anybody got any ideas what that circle could be below the boat in the bottom right hand? Have you, Lee?
I think, well, basically, on first view of it, it's like what we were just on about, what Lenny caught on the cliffs, to be honest.
Yeah, but what Lenny caught on cliffs is below hillside, so it can't be that.
No, it can't be, but I'm saying it's the same structure, apart from the flashing, which I don't know if it was or not because it's in thermal. It does look like, you know, an orb-shaped.
It's definitely an orb shape. Yeah, and when you look at it when it's zoomed in, it looks quite sinister actually, because it looks like a carved pumpkin, and it's got quite a sinister look. But this is just a still off my laptop of moving footage. I mean, you can see a ship there on the horizon, just below the horizon, sorry, and that. But it's going to be quite interesting just to leave it for a bit and see what people think. And
yeah, we'll take it down, and hopefully I'll get, if you can see questions coming up.
I know it's a significant size. I know that. Look at the size of the boat.
Yeah, well, if you can see questions or replies coming up, anybody, then say, because otherwise, if I scroll down, I'll lose my thread. So we'll come back to that in a bit. We know what it is. So
he's getting good, Lenny, with his thermal, isn't he?
Oh, he's a thermal expert. Have any of you been out and about in familiar areas that turned into a place that isn't unusual? Place like you've walked into through another dimension? Thank you, gentlemen. I know what you mean there, Karen. As in some kind of time slip, I'm assuming that's what you mean, Karen. So we've walked somewhere, we've walked for, I don't know, years, driven somewhere, and then I'll give you an example. Tell me if I'm wrong, Karen. There's a lady at Burton Fleming that were taking her children to school, and she's driving down the road, just normal road, and then suddenly car's all bumpy, and she's on a dirt track. She don't know how. And there's a sign, a wooden sign, Burton Fleming. I think it was Burton Fleming. And then she carries on driving, and she comes onto road again, and everything's normal. On the way back, there's nothing wrong. She's almost as though she's just slipped in. There's been some kind of glitch in time. I'm not sure if that's what you mean, Karen, but that's what I'm taking from it. Anybody? Lee, have you had all like that?
Well, I mean, the only thing I can think of, first of all, what gets me with the time slip theory is you've just said that she was going down the road, blah, 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 and then next thing she's back to where she was. Why are you not stuck in that time slip for an hour?
Well, I can't answer that, mate. I don't know. Yeah,
It's just strange how it's that split second. It's like that what happened in Liverpool in Bond Street, where somebody was staring into the shop window and it turned to Victorian. They saw the all Victorian sign over the top and everything, and they were back to where they were. They saw people.
But what if we've got like parallel things running alongside each other? And I won't take anybody's research. Like Paul Ascoff likes to mention, like the lines of a record.
Yeah, and
imagine you've just jumped a line or gone back a line, and you've just dropped into it. I don't know. Any thoughts on that, Ian?
Well, my only personal view with something like that is, I mean, a couple of years back, I mean, it was early hours. My brother came in and was off to Wetherby, so we set off. Always go the back roads. I remember going to getting to Rudston, and then next thing I know, I was at the Cowlham Crossroads, and I just said to my brother, I said, "Cowlham," and he went, "Yeah," and I went, "How the effing hell did we get here?" And he went, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "You're driving?" I said, "I can't remember coming out of Rudston." I said, "So I've gone all this way, and you know what I mean? Across some quite busy junctions, well, not busy junctions, but, you know, potentially dangerous junctions." I says, without even realising I've got here. And he says, "Well, you haven't gone anywhere. You've been waffling." And it did me head in. It rest of the day, it did me head in until I got home, downloaded the dash cam to make sure. And fair enough, I'm talking away. We're just waffling all the way. There's no breaking it. But without that dash cam, I'd still now be questioning myself, because I had no recollection of leaving Rudston and getting to Cowlham Crossroads at all. And you can see the road off the dash cam. You can see me, hear me and my brother talking, and absolutely nothing. I mean, he kept laughing at me the rest of the day, saying, "You know what I mean? What you do when you get home and you rewind it, and there's something dodgy." I said, "Don't, Phil, don't," because it was messy with my head, but it all went away when I listened to it back and watched the footage, and yeah, nothing untoward, but just a strange one for me. Must have been like autopilot.
Well,
talking as well.
We'll not say his name, and you know this fella who's got a boat in harbour, or did have a boat in harbour. He had two. I think he's got one in now. And he took a fishing party out from Bridlington Harbour. Not going to get times right, but let's say 5 a.m. The people had come to do some angling, and they were going to a place called 10 Wrecks. And I ain't got it in front of me to go into detail. He said, but a boat followed him out at harbour. I don't name it boat. He asked me not to name that one. But the guy whose fishing boat had this strange anomaly, the boat were called Our Grace, but I'll not say his name. He says, we went to Head End, which is Flamborough Head End. That's going to take us X amount of time. We did a bit of, I think he said mackerelling. From there, we were going to go to this next point, this next mark, and do some more fishing. And then we're going to head to 10 Wrecks. He says, it was his son, who's not a young lad. He'd been in his 20s, capable of skippering boat. He says, it were all in plotter. Everything was set. He said, and I'd been working long hours the day before. I got my head down on wheelhouse. He said, wet me up when we get there. And I think it was something like 3.5 hours or something to get to where they wanted, with different stop-offs for fishing. He says, and I'd been asleep. I don't know. It didn't seem like I'd been asleep half an hour. He says, and he's checking me. He says, wake up. He says, and I'm thinking, what's up? What's the matter? He says, we're here. I said, what do you mean we're here? So we can't be here. He says, we're here. He says, and when I sort of looked around, he says, it's weird terminology. He says, but all sky were like, he used a dog, a golden Labrador. He said everything were golden. Everywhere, full 360, it were golden. He says, water looked like there were oil on it. There weren't. There were no oil on it. He says there were no sound. He said we'd got the radar sort of set up to detect every, 15 mile. He said, you go to 50 mile, there's nothing. And he says, it were weird. He says, I thought we were in eye of an hurricane. He says, I really thought we were going to get hit. He says, and we've set it again. I'd set to 30 mile, 40 mile, 50 mile, I think what its limit. He said, we were nowhere. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. And we're in this weird silence. He says, seabirds follow you out. You've got buckets of bait. He didn't look at his plotter until afterwards, but we'll just touch on plotter in a minute. He said, I'm worried. I said, I'm starting to get frightened, but he couldn't say out because lads are there. He says, well, he says, get fishing. He says, I thought you said we were going to take X amount of hours. He says, bait up, get fishing. He says, and we were catching fish. They were catching fish like no tomorrow. He says, it was just brilliant. He says, and then all of a sudden, radio crackled to life. This radar scanner started working. He says, and a boat come over at radio, said we'd disappeared and we thought you'd sank. The other boat that followed them out at harbour. But they're obviously a good distance between them. They might have, I don't know, done something different. I don't know, whatever. But he said, you'd just disappeared off radar, everything. We thought you'd sank. He said, but everything come to normal. Sea became kind of choppy and movements. He says, when we looked at the plotter on the boat, because he's just about, I suppose it's like a GPS or a, like what you'd have in car, but not that just for the boat. He says there's jumps, there's gaps. He says it's not. It's as though we've left water and landed somewhere else It's really weird. The boat sank now. I believe they sold it to somebody in Whitby, and it sank because he reckoned that information probably would have still been on it. So all I've got is this man's word and his diary. I haven't got his diary, but and the entries to diary about this weird day. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Was that a time slip? They arrived an hour and a half early.
It was an angling party that they had on one day.
Yeah, an angling party, but lads will be fishing off boating, like you know what I mean, don't you? Yeah.
That was in one of your books, wasn't it, Paul?
No, I've not written about it. I don't think. If I've written about it in book 4, I might have done, but I can't remember if I'm being truthful. If I have, there's that much stuff. I mean, I've had some great emails last 2 or 3 weeks. So if you're listening to this, I will be in touch. I mean, the Raincliffe Woods story has just blown me away, to be honest with you. This guy who wrote to me about something in Raincliffe Woods. That's why I went there last week. And then this Reeton story with Katie, or Kate, who saw this UFO in 1998. He's just best story. So it's up there with Ummanby. It's just incredible. Wow. But we'll do that one. That's not for today because it's for you guys and for everybody in chat, isn't it? So
can I just answer what Karen was saying briefly?
Yeah, go on.
When it was the only thing I can think of is like a bit of a time slip, whatever. It went to time slip, but that's the best way to say it, to put it into proportion, really. Is we went to the Well House. There's a place called the Well House, and it used to have a big manor house, and then there's a little well, like a little house, like a little. Well, it's like a little house on its own. You've probably seen it on my channel anyway, and it has like a bath at the back, and it comes through into the Well House. Well, a lot of people thought the magic powers were in the water. Now, we've been a few times. I mean, last time I was over there, that was the last time at Halloween this year. But we went one night with Arlen, and I said, come on, me and Mick, and we'll take Arlen out. And then we come to the Well House, and we walked a bit further. Now, I'd never gone to this area before. And Mick has told me recently that there was a village up there, a very old village. And I came to a certain point where I've never been before. And then I just felt something closing in. And then I'm just stood there and I'm thinking, what's this? And I said, I'm sure I can feel something. And then all of a sudden it hit me like a ton of bricks. I just felt like I was going back in time to somebody who was very sick. And I just stood there. But the more I stood there, the more I felt ill. And I was getting that way where I actually felt what was wrong with them. And they had like a bad stomach. And I thought, I wonder if it was somebody who was going to the Well House for some help. And that was very strange. That was very strange. But if I'd stood there and not moved, I felt like I would have turned into that person. Now the feeling I was getting was a woman. Yeah. A very old woman who was very sick. But I had to move away because I felt physically sick. It was really strange. Really strange. And I was crying as well. I couldn't stop crying. It was really strange.
It almost sounds like clairvoyance stroke mediumship. There's some along them lines. Is that what you're thinking?
Like the more I'm doing it,
very much.
The more I'm catching on to stuff, the more I'm feeling. I mean, like the crying was like what he had at Derbyshire, with the Super Fortress, the plane crash in 1948. I went there, and it's a very sad place. But there again, I'm coming down the hill, and there was a load of us there. We were, and they all sat down, and I went wandering off on my own. And I come to this certain point and was dropping down the hill. I just burst into tears. I felt really sad. It was a very scarce place up there. I think it's Bleak Low, I think it is.
What's it called? Bleak? Bleak.
Bleak.
No, that's
Yeah.
that's a kind of sad word, desolate word, isn't it? Bleak.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, there was 13 fatalities there.
Really?
You know, it was coming from Scampton to Lancashire on a training. I think it was called nickname overexposure, if I remember right. But there was 13 fatalities. But I like going to these places because it was my idea to go with the team, because I like to get the feel of what that person would have seen at the time or kind of felt. And that's what happens. You see where the actual plane has come down in the fog, and, you know, and you get the feeling, luckily, sometimes of whatever's around you. And he did. It was a strange place, a very strange place. But, I mean, the good thing to come out with it, I was reading the other day that somebody was up there and they found one of the actual wedding rings of the pilots. And they've actually got in touch with somebody in America, and they've actually got it back to the family in America.
That's good, isn't it? Yeah.
Which is brilliant, you know.
That is good. I mean, there's a lot of feeling and emotion left at places where tragedy happened, and because it's the fear of what's going to happen, and they've probably known what was going to happen potentially anyway. And then it's the sadness there. It seems to stay in it. But not everybody can pick up on these things. So I think you're probably a bit more in tune with things than a lot of people, even though I believe 99% of people will have that ability to pick up on things. Some people pick up on all sorts and are really good at it, and some people, they're never going to pick up on anything, really. That's, I think, what they do. People ignore it. And I think the more you try and tune into it, then the more you'll come up with. I mean, like you were saying about the woman, how you was feeling sick. I mean, you could have maybe walked out of that and shook it off, or you could have stayed in there and opened yourself up even more and experienced even more. And someone who's a lot more in tune, but could have potentially come out with all sorts. But again, that's spirit in it, and it's all open to your own interpretation in it, how it is.
No, but I think you're right. And I think, like you just said, Ian, some people go through a lifetime and never actually experience that. But I think if you get touched by something that's profound, not necessarily spirit, any of the unexplained genres, then you don't believe in it. Then you know it's real, and then you're open to it. And once you become open to it, once you know the reality of it, then you're sort of calling it, aren't you? You can access it easier. I don't know what the mechanisms are that allow us to do that, but once you've brought that barrier, you know, I don't know. Imagine somebody in chat now. We've got nearly 300 people sat there. There'll be bound to be somebody in this chat who's been up close and personal to a UFO.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear anybody saying these things might exist, and I think you've been mistaken. They know the reality. They might stand in a field or stand somewhere for the rest of their life and never see it, but they've had that grain of truth, and that's all they need to know. Hearing voices, clairaudience in your head. I don't know if Ian hears that. Do you know what I mean? Because it comes to people in different ways, doesn't it? You know, some people get images and things. You sound like you're getting feelings placed onto you, and almost the essence of the person who's passed. You know, it's touching different people in different ways. I suppose it's a different skill set if you want to look at it like that. But it's a good thing to have, Lee.
But I mean, I was speaking to Dr. Martin Abbas when we came up there. He was up there, luckily, when we were up there last time. And he said, maybe you've got a brighter light than, you know, a lot of people. The lights, the third eye is open. It's kind of, you know, you're more open to it. You're more relaxed. And I thought that was very interesting, because that's the way it feels, that, you know, you're kind of picking up on things more and more. It's like you're looking more into it in a sense of, but as well, what I usually do is before I go out, I relax, I clean my mind of everything. And I think that's a big thing as well. You know what I mean?
You just got to be very careful, Oli. Don't go out too wide open. I mean, I don't know how I actually keep myself shut down. I honestly don't know. But I try to keep myself as fairly shut down as I can when I'm up there and in other places, because you'll just get consumed by things.
Yeah, it's true. But I do have that limit, Lenny, where I cut off. I walk back away from it, because I know then your body's telling you there's something not right somewhere. Yeah, you know, like people saying it's a happy feeling, a sad feeling, or an evil feeling. your body's telling you, you're using it. That's the best tool to have when you're doing the paranormal, I think, is your body. You've got to listen to it. If it's something saying, look, you're getting hunted, you've got to listen to it. If you don't and start going further, you're asking for it. Exactly. I agree with you 101%.
I think that carries through for everything in life, though, don't you, Ian? Yeah. You do what your body's telling you. Even to pointer, if you're in a bar, you know when something's not right. Most people do. You've got some people that are just walking flat bang into a fist, and because they've no more idea than man in moon. But Ian's work doors and like protection type stuff. You know about it, Ian, don't you?
Oh, very much so. And it's hard to explain, really. You know, and then people who's experienced with it, you know. And this type of thing is very similar to that. It's your own intuition, innit? It's your own body telling you. Like I say to most people who come up there or come into different places with us, if you don't feel it's right, go with your gut instinct. If you're not happy,
that's it.
then say something. Don't stay there because you're being brave or anything. If you want to leave, leave. No one will look down the nose at you and say, oh, you silly bugger or whatever, because it can happen to you, it can happen to me, it can happen to Paul, and it has happened to us where you've wanted to leave, and if you could run, you'd run. No disrespect there, Pete. I mean, I admire people who will actually admit that, and we all should be more honest. But something don't feel right, then no, go where you go.
This is a jump away from what we've been talking about, but we can jump back to it. But I want to put it on just because. Right, Martin James, I watched something on the internet where a man was in the woods and he put mirrored panels around him and completely disappeared, merged into the woodland. I'm not sure how that relates to what we're doing, Martin, but it's an interesting concept then if you could camouflage yourself in some way like that. I've got no knowledge of that, as Ian might have, you might have, Lee, I don't know.
Yeah, no, there is. I mean, we won't know, but I know there is cloaking sheets out there, isn't there? What they've made. Okay. So that's on the lower end of the scale. So what's on the higher tech of the scale?
Yeah.
It's a very.
We will never know. When we will, it'll be too late. There'll be something else, won't there?
Yeah, well, I don't fancy carrying a pile of wardrobe mirrors out with me to test it up at Bempton.
They use them in America.
You said it's home from a shop. If you walk outside, it's out of date.
Yeah,
that's what they said, don't they?
Yeah,
it's just a set of mirrors on plastic, and they just set them out as a hunting blind, and they sit behind them. They've got to be angled down so they're not reflecting the sun. So it just reflects all the background. So whatever background you're in, like your camouflage nets, whatever, you don't need that. You put that in, and it's just a reflection of that background. They use it in America for turkey hunting and all that sort of stuff. So it's a very rudimental blind.
So Paul Jones, so that platform was rotten. Last time we were there, Pete was leaning on it. Is he all right? Pete's okay. Yeah, he's doing fine, and he'll be sat watching this now, and he's probably enjoying a beer and just sort of grinning to himself. So yeah, he's fine. Thanks, Paul.
Well, we're on about that.
He should be in here.
Yeah, it will be. It will be when he's ready. Can we just say, I hope Jack and Barbara's getting better soon.
Yeah,
because they've both had that horrible flu thing, haven't they? I believe
they have. Yeah, and it's really knocked Jack off his feet. So, like you just said, I hope you're feeling better. See, Gemma's doing moderating. Alison, Clifftop, Pete there. Let's have a look. I hope these questions are good when we get in. Gavin's still crazy. Has he ever said how you keeping then, Jack? At some point, see what you're saying in the past. Yeah, he has. Gavin, that's the kind of terminology he uses. The reason it went out of character, and Ian will probably jump in with some here as well, is the fact that he'd been talking to Chris Mack. We'd done all that. We'd been there going on for an hour. And so that would have been an opening of a conversation an hour before. Am I right, Ian?
It was just out of place. It was out of place. Because like Paul said, I mean, Jack and Chris had been talking in the car park before we turned up. And then, of course, was talking when we got there and been blathering on. But we was in the middle of sorting his settings out on his camera. Yeah. So Jack's got his camera to his eye, going through the instructions I was giving him how to find, what he was looking for. And then it was there. It was just, but Jack was adamant, and I believe him 100%. It wasn't him. He didn't see it.
No.
So But we've caught these voices before. I mean, that time in Danesdyke, when, I mean, you was there that night, Lee. I don't know whether you've heard that. But on Paul's video, on his camera, he heard someone say, Paul.
Yeah.
I was looking at some of the footage that I'd taken. I was, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 feet away from Paul. And I hear him say, did you say something, Chris? And he said, no. So I thought you said Paul. So I looked back at my footage, and just as Paul looks round to one side, you can hear on my footage his name, Paul. But it's been picked up on my camera and Paul's camera, so it's picked up on both the audios. It sounds similar to my voice, but it wasn't me, because where it's coming from is in between everybody. If it was me saying it, the microphone on mine, it would have been a lot louder. If it had been nearer to Paul's, it would have been louder. It's sort of semi in between where everybody was stood. And again, on the dash cam, which it spoke the hell out of my wife, which Paul picked up, it's some footage that I sent him a while back. And you can hear a young, what sounds like a young woman's voice. My wife just says something, I can't remember whatever she says. And then you hear something freezing in a sort of like a softly spoken but woman's voice.
And it's in car with you, isn't it? It's in the car with you. Just you two talk. Let me see if I can find that while you.
Well, the only thing I was gutted about is, like you were on about Linny, about when I was there and the word, the name Paul came up. When I looked at the footage, because I think Paul sent it me, I was gutted because the best tool I've got is the parabolic dish. And I'm actually setting it up in the background, but I just didn't have it set up when he said it, and I was gutted because it would have been clear as a bell.
Yeah, I said that before. You're in the background. You and Chris are in the background putting that together.
I think this is it. But if it isn't, apologies, because I think does Elaine say possibly?
Yeah, possibly.
So let's listen to this, people. Hold on. Open. There we go.
Possibly. Possibly. Possibly.
There's definitely a voice there. And there's either somebody else in car with him under the seat.
No.
I mean, bearing in mind, Ian and Elaine hadn't heard that. It was only when he dropped footage off. It were in with a load of other footage, bits and bats. We've been looking at. We're looking for anomalies near that crossing because we picked a few things up. And I thought there's a bloody voice there, and just pull it out, and there is. Strange.
So you've got voices around the group what's going up to Benton Cliffs, and you've got voices on the phone with a group of people who's going around Benton Cliffs.
And leaving. And at home.
And at home, it's following us about.
It's bizarre.
I mean, we've covered this multiple times of the so-called hitchhiker effect with things that does, and it has, and it still does. Things happen that come home with you. Not just here. It's been, for some reason, my mum's been getting bugged by things. My daughter is, they're running next door. My daughter has, and Paul has, and Pete has. But some of the stuff that's happened at Pete's house, I hope he don't mind me saying, but one night there was him and Sue sat there, and he was having a glass of whiskey one night, and I think he just says to Sue, "Fancy another whiskey?" And as soon as he said that, his old whiskey, the whiskey glass that he had, that was on the coffee table, with what was left of the ice in it, all started swirling around and rattling. And it's like, did you see that? And his missus says, yeah. And then there's lots of other things. Pete's, he's pretty tuned in, his Pete, to a lot of things.
Yeah.
A lot more than he lets on. He's pretty good, his Pete. Well, he's very good. But that's down to Pete to say, in in the future when he feels more comfortable about talking about it. But he's had some quite incredible things happen, and something incredible that happened pretty recent. But that's Pete's story, and same with Mark. Mark, who comes up there, he only saw something. Well, his wife saw something a couple of weeks ago, didn't she, Paul?
Yeah. In their own property, yeah.
Yeah, that seemed to. She thought he was buggering about and threw something at her, and he was adamant. He said, "I haven't done anything." He heard it bang.
He saw it in peripheral. He saw it drop, didn't he?
Yeah.
And it just dropped and disappeared. Just literally just vanished on when it hit the floor. He just saw something drop, and his wife, obviously, like Ian's just said, thought he'd thrown something at her, but he hadn't.
Yeah, but he hadn't.
No,
she was adamant he had, and he hadn't. He said he hadn't.
Well, you know, Gemma's doing moderating tonight, and Gemma and all her other three sisters and Mary, we'd all seen it. We used to see it we saw it for years. You'd walk into a room, and you picture a teaspoon, that, you know, the round bit that you'd get the sugar with, just that. It'd look like that, look like mercury or silver. It had just dropped at the floor. A drop of light, we used to call it. You'd be sat watching television, and like our Jess had gone, and I'd do the same. I said, "Did you see it?" So yeah. And it wouldn't have to be dark. You'd just be sat in daytime, and this like silver drop had just dropped at the floor and vanished. And I mean, Gemma won't. I'm not going to put her on the spot, but I've got some photographs. Seriously, the marks that I were receiving in 1997. Earlier this year, Martin's seen these photographs. Earlier this year, there were one at the side of a 5p that Gemma got in during the night, the size of a 5p on her stomach. And then, I hope she don't mind me saying it, but other day, there were another one. It's a bit smaller, but and I sent a picture to Anona, the doctor, and I sent it to Martin. I hadn't told Martin context because we were going to speak today, but I hadn't had a chance, and Neil had been busy. But it don't mean it's alien abduction, does it? But it's strange that you go to bed with no marks on you and you wake up with a proper wound on your body. It's weird. They're not little pinpricks, you know. So
and did they heal, Paul, or how long did they stay there?
They'll heal with scars, yeah. I mean, Jessica's got one on her arm here. She just showed us years ago. Says that appeared overnight when they were having all weird activity in house. And there's just a white bump. It's healed with a bump, you know, like that. What do they call it? Sound like I'm a doctor here. It's only because of them scars on my body that they're healed with giant foreign body cells. We might not get to Martin's analogy for that or what it means, because I don't know what it means. But I think it means there's been a surgical procedure or something foreign being tampered inside your body, should we say, for the scar to heal like that. Martin will be shaking his head. I shouldn't talk like I know what I'm on about, should I? Not when it comes to medical things. Let's just move on, because we've got one here from Michael we've just been talking to. Oh, great to see Linny and Lee tonight. Coming down first week after New Year for a few nights. Promise not to. You talk as much as you want, Michael. It's always good to see you, mate. And
see, that's another thing with Michael. Why does it keep pulling Michael back?
Because he's been touched. He's been touched by it.
That's it.
Yeah, it's got under his skin, hasn't it? It's got under his skin.
Because I know now, since I've come up, we've been up a good few years now on every year, basically up to Benton Cliffs. If I didn't come up for 1 year throughout the year, I'd be gutted. Because I look forward to coming, because you just don't know what you're going to find, expect, see, whatever. I'd be gutted. So I'd be probably like you lot. You know, every night you get free up there.
He's got Chris Mack in the same frame of mind. Chris loves being up there. You know,
he prefers it to his fishing. I believe he was heavily into his fishing, and heavily invested into his fishing. I believe, and he says sometimes he's saying he'd rather go there than, you know, and he's got a good hour and a bit travel. But he likes it, and he's a good guy. I mean, I keep saying everyone is. You know what I mean? 99% of the people that turn up there, the good people.
Positive, good subject. You know,
definitely.
There's a fella come up for a few days. We'll meet up with him tomorrow. I hadn't seen him today, and he rang me to say he'd been to Bempton yesterday.
Is this Andrew?
Andrew, yeah.
Yeah.
And he'd been to Bempton on cliff tops. He'd been in thick fog, he's interested in the phenomena. Highly educated man. I'm not even going to say what he does, but he might allow me to. And if he does, then we'll talk about it on a future live stream, and you'll see relevance of what I'm on about. But he said he were off for a meal last night, and did we want to go? And I said no, but I'll have a couple of hours with him around Danes Dyke, early evening, 6 while 8, 5 while 7. I can't remember the time. I picked him up from hotel. We went up Danes Dyke, and he's got a woolly hat on. Makes sense in a moment. We're walking around Danes Dyke. I show him the doorway tree that I've been talking about for last God knows how many years. The doorway tree, you know. I showed him the circle of trees that Dean Dealtree said, this is a coven, you know, a coven. Why am I emphasizing that? I do have a reason. So Dean Dealtree said that. So I showed him all that. He got great knowledge of the stone, and the significance of what this lot meant. There's a circle near the Clutie tree of stones, and it's never been a fire pit, ever. There's no, if you scrape leaves away, there's no evidence of a fire. And he straight away had not picked up on. He said, well, look at the stones. There's no evidence of darkness or burning or anything. He says, this is a fairy ring. And then I told him where the other 6 rings were on the other trees. And it were really interesting. And we showed him the bell, the 3D printed bell. There's 4 screws in top. I've looked at it for a few years now. Ian has. Never give it much thought. He says that's been suspended. That's what them 4 screws are for. And just lateral thinking. Then there's another circle with burnt wood in it near these bent trees, right? And so we moved. We looked at the burnt wood and the circle of stones, and there's no fire. The wood's been placed in it, and there's never been a fire. The stones are as clean and as fresh as any stone that you'd find in the dike. So what the significance, he did start and say what the significance was. We need to get a breakdown off him because he really clued up. There's trees in there that look like natural windbreak, but if you actually look above your head, they're all above your head, these bent over trees. You've seen them, Ian, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean...
I showed you, but it was in dark, weren't it, Lee?
Yeah, I was in the dark. So when I came over, the last time I came over, I've done the video on my channel. I couldn't get my bearings. I just couldn't get the bearings because there was a lot of us in a group, but it was in the dark. I think it was pouring down. I just couldn't get my bearings because we were talking from going one place in Danes Dyke to another. So I just totally lost, to be honest, and I just totally forgot. And as well, you're filming, and you were a bit tired of going over and having that break, and just everything kind of gone. So I lost my bearings really. But as soon as Paul said that, I remember him saying they're over your head. I went like
straight above your head. I did watch it. I watched it other night, Lee. When you'd put it on, and I heard somebody saying, "Oh, this is just natural windbreak," and I thought, just look above your head. Yeah. You don't look in front of you. Just look above your head. They're all above your head. Just
some of the trees, they're like this, 20 foot up, and they're all in different directions, and some of them are twisted. I mean, the wind ain't gonna twist something like that. I can understand it. Yeah, potentially some of it might be windbreaks, but it's only in that localized area. We've gone this way, we've gone that way, all around it, and it's only in that particular area.
That's it.
Oh, there you go. Look, there's one there. Look.
Piece now.
But they're a lot thicker than that.
Yeah,
this one will low down. Can you imagine having power to turn that?
You wouldn't.
Unbelievable, that.
And it's not a vine. This is a tree.
And some of them.
I mean, the other thing as well, you're not going to send an email to Kew Gardens, a very important email saying blah, 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 and looking into it and waiting for the reply.
Tom,
at Kew Gardens, you're not going to do it, are you?
Tom Waters in chat, Lee, and he's got a friend who's, I can never say that word. What is it? Arborist? I can't remember what. Arborist, tree surgeon, tree doctor, should we say? He's seen the photographs. Says he's never seen out like them. And Tom's in chat. Put me on spot. But so it's interesting. I like how all these people, come to Danes Dyke and come to visit us, chasing everything that I've highlighted, but never mention anything I've highlighted. Just great people, honestly. I look upon them as fans. Because if you're watching what I'm doing, but you don't want to talk about me, but you're still watching, you must be a fan. You know what I mean?
Well,
Anyway,
people forget the time you've put in to do the research and the
years
witnesses.
and years.
It's massive. I don't know how you do it, Paul, to be honest.
But I think it's just about a bit of respect. Patrick talked on here last week, and he's done an incredible report about, we'll call it our experience, but it's more Patrick's because I've got not a lot of memory of it. So first thing I did was say, this is all Patrick's work. It's not mine.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And Ian, I don't go on some radio show. We'll get over with this one in a minute. I'll be off on a rant. I don't go on some radio show and say, we've filmed this and trying to pull Ian's footage into my footage. Yeah. He's filmed it. It's his footage. He's filmed it. You know, it's just about being right and recognizing that what people do, and some people just can't be bothered to do it, and it's pure jealousy. But anyway, let me just have a look here. We've got Michael.
I maybe have filmed it, Paul, but it's a team effort. We all pull in the same direction. Or most of the time we pull in the same direction. The only time we don't is when we're being maybe critical of one another, that something isn't quite what we maybe think it is. And then eventually it's like, yeah, you're right, or we're not, or I see your point. Because we don't just jump in and say, that's paranormal, that's this, that's that. We try and rationalise it. I mean, the other night, for instance, we saw something in the distance mooching about. It turned out, I looked at it through the thermal, and it was an helicopter that had sneaked up behind us and popped up between Filey and Scarborough. We could have said it was something paranormal, something alien. It's like the picture we've put up earlier on. I don't know whether you want to put that back up.
You must be reading my mind. I was going to do it. I haven't got to what people have said, So if somebody's got what Ian's going to say it is, well done. So we'll put that picture back up. Anybody work out what it is?
It's a police helicopter.
No.
No.
Go on, Ian. You put.
It's the moon. It's the moon.
The moon.
Yeah.
And what you can see going across it, it's a thin strips of cloud, which makes it look quite like a face on it and quite sinister. But yeah, I mean, we've done that deliberately just to sort of like say to people how easy it is to misidentify something. But again, it's a thermal signature coming from the moon. And when you zoom into it, you can see all the different sort of like shapes and shades and whatever in the moon. Well, deliberately put that up, just you can get an idea of what the sea looks like, what a ship towards the horizon looks like, and that's the moon. But we could have, if we wanted to, you know what I mean, be BSers and say it's something different.
We filmed The Strange Anomaly. We all saw it. Yeah, it's called Moon. You know what I mean? So there's another one here. Go on, Lee, sorry.
No, I'm just saying it's a good test, that. Positive test. Good to see, because not a lot of people do that, do they?
And I'll put this one up. What do you think? Well, Ian asked me to put it up, but it's just one of lads. If it were me, they'd do it to me. So we've put it up, and he's just having a yawn.
Scream. Is it Scream 3 they're on now?
Sinister things looking thermal. And then we've got this one of this tree in Broxer Forest when you came in Forest with us. Can you remember this?
Not really, but go on.
Right.
I do remember it, yeah. I do now. Why it was up there,
That's cool.
I have to go.
Because Paul said get up there.
The big moth around you.
What Paul fans do to him now, don't know. I'll tell you what, it's a very strange tree.
Well, that's in there. I put that one up in there. There's a lot of trees like that because it's not, them roots aren't in ground. Obviously, I dare say a few blokes could probably stand it on end, and that's probably what's happened. But there's quite a few trees like that in there. Do you know what I mean? Or be dead wood. Do you know? So it's fascinating getting in there. It's a fabulous place.
Sorry, Bob. I can't. I'm sorry, but all is just the heavy breathing and leaves on wood.
That's not me.
If I tell you what. If you'd have seen us on Friday, myself and Chris Wright went into Broxer, and we went in 3 ravines, and they drop down like between 700 and 400 foot. And there's just rocky outcrops that are pouring with water and waterfalls. First one I managed okay, Chris did. Second one, tiring, because we're going down them and then coming up other side of them. Mainly just because we like it, we enjoy it, we must do. I'd do it again. But the last one, I've got wellies on, got my clothes on, and I'm crawling up the waterfall as it's coming down. You know, it's only 45 degrees, but they're flowing because there's loads of water. Just couldn't walk up them, just so tired. And Chris, what's him? You're absolutely knacked. But we got loads of footage of all that just to get footage. So if you think I'm breathing heavy there, I wonder helicopter won't carry me out, you know. But
well done.
Well, we had a go.
Well
So we've got Martin here. Lads,
Hey,
missing you all.
Martin.
Can you tell us your most important or memorable interaction with the phenomena? Anybody? Lee? Ian? Good question.
Good question, but it just takes too long for me. It was Benton Cliffs.
Some of them,
Definitely
Martin,
Benton Cliffs.
personally, some of them I wish that never happened. The most memorable ones. I mean, the best one, which I'm going to say, and I'm pretty sure Paul will be the same. Jack, Pete, Mark, everyone else who was there.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Was
This year.
that little light that visited us that night? That was three times or whatever it was on three. It did three things over a certain period of time. That was absolutely amazing and absolutely fantastic. I mean, if that had been the first time I'd ever been up there and seen that, I mean, I was blown away by it anyway. That was fantastic, and that really felt really good. But some of the other things up there, no, definitely. Well, not just up there, but in other places, no, not good, not good.
I would agree that light, and that was this year, weren't it? What, 3 months ago? And
yeah, maybe a bit longer now.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, and we know we've told everybody what it is, but you know, it literally. We said we got visited, and we did. We didn't. It weren't a peripheral. Michael was there anyway, weren't he?
It was. There was 7 of us there.
Yeah, and Chris, Mack, Pete, we did, and we all got a little taste of it individually while it was with us all, because it was like a ping pong ball, weren't it? Really?
Right. Yeah. Little apple. I mean, to me, it was the size of a ping pong ball. Chris said it was like the size of an apple, and it bounced about from person to person. I know I'm sorry if we're going over some, but it really was special, and it wasn't just like you say. What was that? A fleeting glimpse. There was something moving around, bouncing off us, on people's hands, and then the light it was emitting. I mean, it was but so bright. But it didn't chuck like masses of light out. But within a close area where it was glowing. Fantastic.
And Chris said it had a blue aura outside, didn't he?
Yeah, Chris said that when he saw it on Pete. I mean, I saw it on Pete's because Pete had his back to us at this particular point. It was on like back of his hand, so you can imagine from behind from Pete. But Chris seemed to think that it was like it was running out of energy.
Yeah, they were fighting for energy. That's what he said, didn't he?
It was like running out of. Oh, that's how it appeared to him. I don't know.
It was interesting, and what we need to stress here, because we all saw it. They were, you know, hand on heart. We all saw this. We're in this circle, which is tight, probably like Ian said earlier, about 8 foot, 7 of us.
Yeah.
It was at either side of us. So if anybody that wants to say, oh, well, somebody's probably got a laser pen on an hill and they've done that to you, it wouldn't work like that anyway. But it covered all angles. It covered, you know, right side, left side, front, back. It was there. Bang, bang, bang. As it lit Chris's stomach up. And as fast as it's doing that, Chris is looking at Pete and seeing Pete's hand and back lit up. Ian's seen something similar. Really special. And who would have thought it? A light could create so much interest, but so much so that now we put cameras on us when we're up there.
Yeah, trying to catch it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, potentially.
The last question quickly. That when we're in the early years of coming up there, we're staying in the caravan.
Oh yeah,
and the static. And all I've said to Martin, I'll tell him when I see him because it'll take too long. But basically, it followed us back from Benton Cliffs to the caravan.
Really?
That's all I can say because I can feel it circling the caravan.
And I
Which
think
again was an amazing feeling. It was amazing.
good, as in good.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, like it's kind of not. Well, not a negative, but not an interesting feeling. Like, well, put it one way: we went outside and we walked down to this like a line of trees, which were conifers made as a fence. Now I went down, looked behind, nothing. Walking back up, we make, and then it was out of season. There was nobody there, and then we heard like a pebble drop, bump, just out of nowhere. And we both stopped. We both heard it. But of course, the following morning we were getting chucked out, so we weren't there the second night. But it definitely, the timing coming back from the cliffs to the caravan, which would say 20 minutes stood in the caravan, explaining what we'd seen, felt, it came again, and we could feel it circling the caravan. It was an amazing feeling, amazing.
Strange. Isn't it weird that it is literally a truth that leaves no proof? We all saw the light, the 7 of us, but all people have got in chat are our words for that. You know, because there's very little proof. Like I've said it thousands of times. Well, not thousands, but lots of times. We're a debunker, skeptics. Perfect scenario, aren't we? Because we don't have a lot of proof for what we're talking about, do we? We're getting proof. Ian's thermal stuff I've caught on camera and thermal. We're getting proof, but most of it's anecdotal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's too fast as well. I mean, what I was going to say is potentially the last time that you saw anything that was similar to that light was a few weeks back when we was walking back. You and Pete was next to each other, and
yep.
Much shot from your right to left, innit?
We both saw it, myself and Pete. We're walking up the path. You know something? We forget about half of this, and Jack will be listening to this, and he'll be shaking his head because he's bought us all waterproof notebooks. He has, hasn't he? So sorry, Jack, but yeah, we're about Peter. No, probably a foot off the ground. Imagine a bean can on its side, glowing white, just shot straight in front of us. And I don't mean 4 foot away, straight in front of us. He's looked at me, typical, as we've said loads of times, Barnsley accent. Did I see that? I certainly did, yeah. Weirdest things. Yeah. So I'll put this up because otherwise it's not fair on Deb, because she's asking the same question, just what Martin asked. So we've done that, Deb, as you know. Been your most profound experience of 25. And blessings to you as well, Deb. It's always great to have your support. I love meeting up with these, you know, Wendy, Deb, when we go to conferences and that, it's always good. And everybody in chat, you know, everybody's had an experience and got just as much interest as us. So that's why I just love all you guys that support us. So we've just done that one, haven't we, really?
Yeah. Can I tell them about and I won't say quite how we saw it. Well,
yeah,
what I said. Only earlier on, I mean, we've had lots of like most people have, really bad weather up here where it's been absolutely foul. It's been throwing it down. It's just absolute waste of time going up there because you can't get camera equipment out in that when it's absolutely horrendous weather. But we was up there, I don't know, a couple of weeks back. And as we said earlier, the decking has gone. So we're sat on this little arc of benches. We just sat there. Me, you, and everybody else was sort of like facing nearly the same way, apart from Mark. Mark was stood up in front. I think his back had been hurting him or something. So he's a big lump, is Mark, and I don't mean that in a a derogatory manner. He's a big, thick-set fella, and he stood in front of us. And then I just saw this thing shoot across the sky, which just went, and I just watched it in the sky, but it went behind Mark, or should I say my vision, because of Mark's shape. It went behind him and then came out the other side of Mark, down towards Filey, but then just dipped and went into the ground. And I shouted, I couldn't help it. What the F was that? And then you piped up, Paul, didn't you? And you said, well, I'm glad someone else has seen that, because I'll let you finish off, you know what I mean?
Well, no, I weren't going to say anything. Obviously, Ian saw exactly what I saw, and I looked and I thought, what the hell was that? But I didn't say it because it were over and done with too quick. And there weren't a shape of a body or anything, but if we all watched Harry Potter films, the Dementors, it's crazy. This literally just flashed through the sky, this thing. But it were in field with us, if you know what I mean. It weren't up in Evans. You know, it weren't that far away. I'm not going to pretend and say it were 20 foot away, but it weren't hundreds of feet away. And he went, "What the flipping heck is that?" As he does, he says flipping heck a lot. And I just literally just said, "I'm glad you saw it because I weren't going to say it because it." Once again, it's anecdotal. You're trying to explain to somebody, but you always feel a little bit better if you've got somebody else who's seen something or can back it up a little bit. Otherwise, it's just your word spilling. But don't that just tell you, though, Ian and Lee and everybody, the amount of stuff that we're seeing? This thing that shot across path with me and Pete, that all these different things. Martin, the sounds that Martin heard when he came up and he alerted us all to these strange sounds that we heard. You remember them, Ian?
Oh, the were frog, definitely the were frog. I mean, we think back on it, really, we're all sort of like on the old stand, it was like a horseshoe shape. And where the middle bit, I don't know, it's maybe 8 feet across. And it's full of weeds. So you can go all the way around and out the other side. And we're just leaning on this. It was still sort of like summer, about around 9 o'clock-ish, 9:30-ish, something like that. So it's light, really light. Summertime, it hardly ever gets properly dark up there. I mean, as soon as it starts to get dark, the sun's coming back. So we're just leaning, looking sort of like out into the land. And Martin stood behind us, and we're just talking, waffling among us all. And then Martin's in the background saying, "What's that? Can anybody hear that?" type of thing. We sort of not deliberately ignored him, but we just carried on talking, and he got more irate, let's say. So we got, "What?" And then you could hear it. There was this funny, clicky, clacky, strange sound. To me, it sounded like the curling stone.
Curling stone, but fast.
But you know, clack, clack. And it was coming from right underneath where we were stood on this decking. So we all heard it. Then it moved. It was in all these weeds and nettles and everything in the middle. It was coming from in there. I think it was Jeremy who went the other side of it. So we surrounded it, and it was coming from in there. And then it was under the deck, and then down so far down the cliffs. So Jeremy run round again, and he actually climbed. I thought he was going to bloody climb over, but he climbed up on the fence, and he was stood on the fence looking down, and he says, "It's coming from down there." And we could hear it, and he could hear it. Then it come up the cliff face, went into the field, and then went over that hill and into the distance. We was following it, weren't we?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you could hear this thing. You couldn't see anything. There was nothing moving. It wasn't. I mean, if it was an animal, it was invisible. And then someone said it sounded like some sort of frog making a funny croak. And then someone came up. I think it was Martin who says it was a were frog. And then it just turned into the were frog. But I think Martin managed to get some sort of recording on his phone of a strange noise.
He did what we all do, Ian, didn't he? First of all, you analyse it before you think I'm going to get a picture of it. So he's trying to analyse it and saying, "Hey guys, listen to this. What's this? What's this?" But at the final, because we're ignoring him basically, because we're not deliberately, he gets his phone out and he's got a bit of it, and I've put it on a loop. So if we probably, you get a good idea of it. So we play that at some point. Yeah. We'll just put this up from Martin. We'll get through a few of these questions because we've only got Ian. Still can't get me head around the drone, whatever it was you caught on the heat camera. Any new thoughts on it? We'll move on from that in a minute, Ian. But have you any new thoughts on it?
Only, I mean, how many times it been there before, Martin? It's when I turn my thermal on, I always scan around there, always looking for it. I mean, I try and keep my thermal off my eye because it's so bright, even though it's down on its dimmage settings. You've got it to one eye. It takes your natural eye ability, and I like my own Mark 1 eyeballs to look around for things. It just blinds you in one eye for maybe 10 minutes.
Mine
yeah, but mine does. It's a pain in the eye.
Well, mine's decided it's a pain. It's dead. But anyway. Let's just get this one. Let's have a look.
Can I just butt in? You know the were frog sound? What you're on about? Does that not match like the frog sound you caught in Dane's Dyke? Do you not think that sounds like a frog?
wish I'd got that sound. I don't know. The one that I caught a few months ago.
Yeah.
In
It sounded
early
like
hours.
a frog.
Sounds like sci-fi, something from sci-fi movie to me. I don't know what the hell that is. I ain't got the sound.
A couple of people have listened to this. It sounded like a frog, that.
Yeah.
Without
Well,
even saying anything.
yeah. But do you know
maybe
something?
just-
What if one of these frogs is right next to it, or a toad or something, and it can produce that sound in dead of night? Who can say? Could be. I don't think I could get to them. Let's just put this question up, and if you guys want to have a look at that, let's have a look. What if the shadow figures and voices you guys see and hear are actually time slips on the cliffs, and they sometimes act to prevent all of you from coming to harm? Trouble is, I get what you're saying, but during the daytime, it's teeming with visitors, people spotting birds, and the seagulls, the puffins, the guillemots, and everything else that they come up to see RSPB brigade like. So I'm not sure they're all having these experiences. I don't know. I know some of them do. Gets reported. Any views?
Yeah, some people, like you say, have reported things that's happened in the daytime, but most of the people you see up there in the daytime, they're so happy to be there. A lot of people come a long way. I mean, even from abroad. I mean, I was up there a couple of years ago, and there was some people up there from, I think it was from Florida, that had come to the UK, but Bempton was on their to-do list. So, they haven't just done London and York and Edinburgh. One of on the list was Bempton for the seabirds, potentially, and mainly the puffins. But then the flip side, when it goes dark, it's a totally different place. And personally, I think some of what goes on up there has got quite comfortable with our company, shall we say. Some of they'll never be comfortable with our company and don't particularly like us being there. But majority of the time, I think it tolerates us. Not all of us, because some people that go up there think it takes a bit of exception to from time to time. But
Merry Christmas, Rick. Thank you. Let's just see if there's any more questions.
Tell you what gets me, Linny, is when I was up there in the daylight, the amount of people what have really expensive camera equipment, and you wonder what they caught in the background or whatever.
Yeah,
because it's a lot of the stuff they've got is really expensive.
Me and Bob Brown were up there a few years ago. Summertime, bird spotters, bird watchers were just about winding down. You'll not find anybody up there as it starts to pull in at night, apart from us. And a guy came up there and he said he'd just filmed going along cliffs a blue triangle. Oh, just seen. I said, he gets some pictures of it. He weren't interested. As Bob as my witness, he wasn't interested. He'd come to take pictures of seabirds. And as crazy as that might sound to you guys and to us, Mick Sigson's a perfect example. Fished the cliff tops, how many years, Ian? 50 years?
Man and boy.
Man and boy, as he'll keen to tell you. And he's interested in fishing. We saw this, we saw that, we've seen this, all these things. What did you do? Well, I've got at weighing. I've been catching fish. I have to get back to weighing. And Andy Barmby had that incredible sighting at Thornick Bay, and he says he's angry with himself for not doing it. He says they just lit up as big as cars on side of cliff, below cliff, not up in air, and he's looking at them, only like 200 yards away, and then they switched off. He says, and they were there 2 or 3 minutes each time. He said, I got a camera, because he has a little GoPro and he tags. He don't keep the fish that he catches. He tags them. The sea bass. That's what some kind of conservation. He says, and then 10 minutes later, they come back on. He says, and I thought, this feels weird. It's in night. He says, I went up cliffs, got in my car, and as I'm driving off, they've come back on again. He said, and I could have drove all the way around and looked over at top. There's nobody on ropes. It's hard to explain to people, these cliffs, but you can't get down there, Ian, can you?
Well, you can get down, but you'd never get back up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without a rope, we won't be coming back up.
No, I mean, I'll just mention a little story about Mick, but I won't go into detail far from it. But
I know what you're going to mention. Yeah, go on.
Told us about something that happened up there years ago that was absolutely horrific. It really was, to us, horrific. How he was explaining it all the rest of it, and we're just stood there listening to him telling his story. So Paul just said to him, he says, what did you do?
Did you go and help this person?
And he went, I was fishing. And that was it. He was more interested in carrying on with his fishing than something that him and some other people had just witnessed happening. And they just was more interested in the fishing.
I'm glad you didn't go into it in any great detail, Ian, because. But let's just say anybody that says there's no sinister gone off up there, this story you'd realise that it had, but it's not for our channel really. I got one other day. I told Ian about it other day. I got an email, and somebody got picked up and given a lift with the children, didn't they? And they got it back to the van.
Again, that had a frightened the life out of most people. I mean, it was quite disturbing to listen to it and how it could have unfolded. And
he's watching it on his phone. This person said, "I'll get a lift. Get in. I'll not go into detail because there's details that I think maybe even worth noting for police." He says, and this van just carried on going. Wow. He says, and I'm banging on bulkhead, and it turned around, dropped him off, and drove off. Yeah. But it's a strange one. There's a lot more to it.
It could have been innocent, but the way the world is and how things are, it might not have been innocent, and it might have been one of them things that would have ended up in some tragedy. Yeah, awful.
Tim, worth mentioning again that some of these things do remind me of the case known as the vertical plane, when an early BBC microcomputer of the 80s was a conduit for communication with other beings. Brilliant, Tim. Yeah. And then we got the guy, didn't we, a few months ago that I read that he'd got that, I read his email, he'd got that Bakelite radio and he was getting communication and not pareidolia type voice communication. I know pareidolia is what you see, but you know what I mean. He's getting communication. And yeah.
Friday, you remember what happened Friday driving home? Bakelite.
Yeah, we smelt it, didn't we? That was odd, weren't it? But probably nothing. We were in my old Honda, and it's an old car, but I don't think there's old made a Bakelite on Honda as old as, you know what I mean?
No, we were just leaving somewhere, and it might have been someone burning something, having a fire or whatever. But it just started, and it stopped nearly as quick as it started. Didn't it? We could smell it, and it was like, "What's that?" And the car filled with this smell, and to me, it smelled like an old Bakelite radio, you know, when they get hot. I don't know whether you know what I mean. It's showing me age probably now, but yeah, we used to have Bakelite radios when I was a kid, and when they got hot, you could smell them, and it smelled like very, very hot Bakelite.
We're just getting to some of those moon questions, so apologies, guys. So I realise what that's. Could we see it with the naked eye? So sorry, Ben. Yeah, if we'd have got to that. Obviously, you know what it was now. It was the moon. We've got this one, the Death Star.
Yeah.
So,
very good. Yeah.
Else has put that, you know, not in caps, but yeah, you've got that. Let's have a look.
Paul, that question what Tim's just asked, is that the one that was it in Cheshire where they were restoring an house?
I don't know.
You don't know?
We might not get to Tim, do you see? So everybody's saying Death Star, but yeah, front and yeah, excellent. So
the Death Moon. Well, we're on about things in the atmosphere and the stratosphere. I think Lee's going to potentially tell us a bit of a story about some sort of like flying object.
Is he?
Yeah. Or several flying objects. One went to help the other one.
Oh, yes. And things that buzz.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, often when I've come over to Yorkshire, I've always thought he's linear furry. But the other week, I kind of retracted from that because it was the furries what took the drone, but Linny got it back. So, it can't be a furry. So, thank you very much. And the check is in the Christmas post. That's why it's been delayed.
Yeah. So you've got to give people an outline if they didn't know. There was a drone stuck in a tree on Willie Howe, the burial mound, which is famous for the fairy stories. So,
but what it was, we went over for the first time to Willie Howe, and we left it a bit late. The sun was going down, but also the weather was coming in fast. It was lovely when we got there, but you looked over the horizon, you could see a dirty black cloud coming over. And it was just before it snowed. You had all that snow. And I've had trouble with my drone. It's an oldish one and an early one. But what happens, it runs on your phone. But it weren't connecting to the camera. So I couldn't see what the drone was showing me. But I thought, I'll throw it up anyway. And as soon as I went up, boom, straight hit tree. I went, belting. Well done, Lee. Anyway, Dale, who was with us, had a very expensive between $4,000 to $5,000 drone, and he's flying around Willio, and he just said, I just said, leave it there. Just leave it. I said, it's not worth it. I said, it's an oldish one. No, I'll get it. Don't you worry, I'll get it. And it has the protection thing on. So if he's flying it into a tree, it'll go, that's it. No matter what is coming at the tree, it'll bounce back without him doing anything. So he turned it all off, didn't he? And I said, Luke, just leave it. Just leave it. Please leave it. Wouldn't listen. Got me drone back with a broken leg, but got it stuck straight through the gimbal at the front. I went, brilliant. So we ended up, we were throwing, if anybody's not seen it, it's on my channel. Anyway, we were throwing things at it and trying to get it down. And I thought, listen, we're not going to win here. B&Q in the morning, definitely. So I got up and I missed a call and a voicemail off Paul. And I thought, we'll go to Willio and I'll answer it because I know he's busy in the morning. So it just gets back up there. We've been to B&Q, spent about 50 quid's worth on wood, tape, glue, scaffolding, whatever, ladders. We had everything ready, prepared with the bang on. I've got a plan. And we gets there and we pulls up and I said, look, it's really muddy. Send H. Let H go up, and he was gone ages. And I said, won't it be funny if he said, he comes back and it's gone? So we didn't see H. So I said, well, look, if he comes back and says it's gone, we're going to say, give over. What you on about? And we'll go anyway. I said, come on, it's taking that long. So we're walking up and we're looking everywhere. And Dad, it had gone. And we were like, has the farmer got it? Ring, ring. Ring, ring. I thought, oh, God, who's this now at this time? What a bad time. Paul Sinclair. I went, right, what's Paul want? All right, you're right. Yeah, Paul, yeah. We've got your drone. Unknown to me, they'd been up in the morning in the bad weather, Paul and Linny. And Linny's got his long rods from somewhere. I don't know what he's got them for.
He's born with them.
He's put them together. So we're saying it's at 7 meters. Well, basically, when they've measured it and the size of Linny, which is not very small, about 6'2", and then the rods, all the rods they've got, which they only just managed to get before they snapped, it was 14 meters high. But they did manage to get it, but it was knackered anyway. It was just, but it was getting a new one anyway. It was an insurance job. If you pay for a 4 or 5 grand drone, you get £300 insurance.
Well, I rang you to let you know that we were. I rang you to let you know we were going for it.
Yeah, you did. I missed the call. I totally missed the call.
Me and Ian, we couldn't just leave you to lose your drone.
No,
that what thing. You'd said it were flashing still in tree, and I thought, well, if that farmer does see it, it's fair game. If it's not broke, I'm not saying he'd take it. He might be as honest as days long, but you've got, like you've just said, you've 4 or 5 grand hung up in a tree. So. But
the thing is, I was going to ring Paulie early in the morning and say, listen, have you had any reports at Willio with flashing lights? Because that's what it would have looked like. But that's what happened, yeah. So thanks, Linny. And thanks, Paul, for getting it back for us. Yeah. But I mean, it's no good. They cut it anyway. You can't fly it. They just send you a new one through post.
Yeah, I think it helped, though, didn't it, that he'd actually got the body. He could,
yes, it does, because I think you have to pay. You have to send the chassis back or something. But without the chassis, it's £750. With the chassis, it's 140 quid or something like that.
That's
so there's a massive difference.
Well, if let's assume that me and Ian end up coming through to where you guys go, and maybe just having a little wander around, and we lost some that were expensive. I'd like to think that you'd maybe have decency to go out and try and find it for us.
I'd drop everything. I did exactly the same, Paul.
So that's.
I mean, I didn't buy Paul and Lindy a beer. I've given them all the wood we bought from B&Q as a thank you. You know what I mean?
I'd have loved to have seen them with slate like Ian, wouldn't you? Just wobbling about.
It wouldn't have worked, would it?
No.
I don't think it would have worked because they only bought tape, and I said tape's not going to put wood together, and they said it will. It's gorilla tape. It's gorilla tape. I said it won't, and I'm glad we didn't try.
But main thing is you've got it, haven't you? And that's. I thought it was what do they call him, Arlam's actually. I didn't realise it were Dale's because we'd not met Dale when we come into the car park that night. For some reason, he stayed at back of his car, didn't he? Doing whatever he were doing. I don't know, but yeah, he were appreciative of it. That's the main thing, innit?
You got a good video of it anyway, Paul.
Yeah, we got a little video. I found Rudson Monolith story fascinating. Do you think the monolith was placed there because of activity at that place? I guess we'll never know that, Jack. But
I think it's quite interesting that Willie O is near Rudston and the Gypsy Race as well.
Yeah,
it's all in the same area. I know it's in the triangle, but they're really close together, aren't they?
You know the triangle that people talk about. It's just a catchy phrase. That book is only like a pamphlet. It's a little book.
I've seen it.
There's no, to my mind, and I'm deadly serious here. There's no real research gone into it because it's all stories that everybody's known for hundreds of years. You know, they're all regurgitated. There's no actual new accounts like the pilot having missing time over Willie Howe and things, but it's catchy, in it, the name. Do you know what I mean? And it's an interesting spot, Wald Newton. And let's have a look.
Maybe it's rubbed off the Bermuda Triangle.
Right. So I don't know. What's this for Ian? Linny, is that autopilot mode? Often happens.
No, not really. No. I mean, fair enough if you're doing a drive quite regular. There's parts where you're just doing it, aren't you? But that was, it just totally threw me. So I mean, from there I'd gone over a big roundabout, some dodgy junctions, which sometimes, I mean, there was a bad incident up there last week. Our ambulance was there because someone just decided they don't have to slow down for the crossroad or give way, and bang, they went straight into someone, and someone finished up getting quite badly hurt up there, hence the air ambulance. So even though it was sort of like 4:30 in the morning, you've got to be on your wits. And I don't drive around places with my eyes shut. But it was odd. And I'm just so thankful for the dash cam to prove that I did make that journey. And it sounds like me, and it will have been me that was talking. And, my brother just found it amusing and kept taking the mickey out of me the rest of that day. But it is what it is.
So, time slip again. Iron Mogul. Time slips. When we went to a pub in Gothland years ago, then on another visit, tried to go back to the same pub, but it's a holiday cottage. Apparently, it used to be a pub over 100 years ago. I love stories like that, don't you? So interesting. I hope beer cost you like a penny or a farthing or something. I'd have probably not. I'd have still been in pub.
Sadly, though, a lot of pubs now will be holiday cottages or something, won't they? Because they're just going to the dogs all the time, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. But that's interesting, isn't it?
Very much so, yeah. Very much so.
Well, can I just ask, why is in the back corner, why is that alien frightened to death of that UFO?
I don't know. Anne's right now. I'd got Anne's wrong, hadn't I? We're doing them like that, weren't I? Yeah, but with this UFO's good, isn't it? What do you think of that?
That's best UFO you've got.
It's not bad, is that, Paul? It's nearly as good as that one that Noah filmed.
Yeah, it's good. Well,
and while you're there, Paul,
go on. Oh God, yeah. Let me just do this because this is a Christmas present off Lee. Thank you.
What? Him?
Yeah. Yeah, him. Yeah.
Hey, hang on a minute. What's happened to this 500 quid each that we're supposed to be getting?
I don't know.
That's it.
Yeah. I will just say this.
You got the wood.
Go on.
Sorry, Paul. You got the wood. You got the flying saucer, and I've just got the cheek.
I know. If you want the books, it'll probably be after. It's going to be after Christmas now. So all Truth Proof books, truthproof.uk. I'm going to make a little advert so I don't have to say this, and just keep putting it up. Truthproof.uk. So there's Night People, and there's 4 of the Truth Proof books. You don't have to buy them in any particular order. That's the first one. If you want to get the DVD that myself and Les did, Wolflands. There's the T-shirt. Look, I'm going to get some merch next year as well. But I'm going to see if I can get somebody to do it because it's too much messing about. But Wolfland's, there's the cup. There's another cup. And there's the beer. That's probably better. No, if you want to get the DVD, truthproof.uk, or you can download that and watch it on Amazon Prime. And the key rings. So thank you very much, Ian. No, it's all good. So what's his plans then for next year, lads? What's the score? More of the same? Have you got any plans, Lee?
I've basically this year I've stuck more on the feeling aspect of things, really. But I don't know, really. I've not really thought about it, to be honest.
Okay.
But definitely, if I've got any spare time, it's back over to Yorkshire. Definitely. I'd like to go to Rendlesham as well.
I've been a couple of times and it's really good. I spent a bit of time. I stayed at Derek Savory's, another one, bless him. I must be at Jinxer because Derek's passed away, hasn't he? So
Brenda Butler.
Brenda's lovely. I'd love to get Brenda on here, but she's not been very well. Just like everything else, and she might listen to this, or a close friend, Bernie, will listen to it. I've always got time for Brenda. If Brenda wants to ring me, I always ring her. All these so-called researchers, Brenda gets ill, nobody talks, nobody contacts her, nobody does anything. It's typical, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's you shouldn't forget because she's done a lot for the subject when it comes to Rendlesham Forest. And I'm just going down just to see if there's any. What's this John Paul body? Hi, gent. Sounds like it says it's freezing. So Yorkshire twang maybe on about Elaine and you when you were in car. Thanks, John. And I keep saying it every time, but I filmed John, as we've walked around Danes Dyke and he's told me his experiences, and that's as incredible as anybody's. And I'm reluctant to talk about it because there's a guy that ought to be doing it. Doing truth. Just like Patrick, I might have experienced it with him, but I've not got the memory of it that Patrick has. So Patrick's done the work. Give Patrick the credit, So that's how it should be.
Well done to Patrick for that.
It was difficult, and last week it was difficult for people to follow, but it was difficult for Patrick to talk about because it is all disjointed. It don't make sense, does it? But that's the way it is.
And if he's done a lot of research in it, Paul, it's definitely triggered something that he wants to find about,
Well, somebody said in comments, and it was meant in best possible way. They said, I think Patrick's a lot stronger in the mind, Paul, than you are, because somehow because he's retained it and he can talk about it. I've got no memory of it. But what they didn't know, and Patrick won't mind me saying that, but I've been talking to Patrick about this since it happened, tears and all. Because it's really messed his head up, and over the years to try and digest what's been happening, and it's sort of upsetting. But I've not talked about it in any depth because I think it's Patrick's story to talk about, not mine, regardless of whether we're there or not. So let's have a look. What role does intention or emotional state play on whether you have an experience? I think it plays an enormous part, Liam. I don't know what Ian and Lee think.
I mean, from my point of view, from it is sometimes you can feel it. You can feel it starting. Other times there's absolutely nothing. It's literally dead flat. But if you're up there with an ill intent, let's say, that's a very dangerous thing to be trying to do. I think if you're positive and it happens, it happens. You can't force it to happen because it'll happen if it wants to happen for whatever reason that is. But no, I mean, that thing's up there. That's just literally chatting away out the blue, and bang, something happens or something comes in your head or you see something or whatever. But yeah, emotional states, definitely. If you're feeling low, you're vulnerable. If you're a bit upset about something, I think you're vulnerable. If you're happy-go-lucky, again, I think you should be fine, but I don't know.
And go on, Lee, sorry.
No, I was just going to say the only thing I've got to say on that is, say we go out as a team to anywhere new or whatever, and you kind of stood there. You kind of know if you have to stay there. Oh, there's kind of a feeling like there's nothing going to happen. That gets me as well. Where we said, right, okay, let's pack up, let's go. instead of staying to see if any, but you always get that scent that if something's going to happen. I can't put my finger on that. Or you just say, right, that's it. Let's back up. Let's go. Bizarre. But we do get it.
It is, and our mindset as well. Like Ian's just said, if you went in there with a bit of bad intent, that takes me back to the fact that is it even intelligent parts of the phenomena? Yeah. Because if it's one thing that's trying to mimic us, and you've gone with sad thoughts or angry thoughts, then if it's got no intelligence, it's low intelligence, which is its ability is just to read emotion and read thought. There'll be some people shaking their heads and saying, "What's he on about?" Well, that might be what it mimics back at you, which would frighten you. Do you know what I mean? It's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult to explain to somebody, and this is why I like it. There'll be people in area listening to this because it's in their area, and they think, "I've never experienced out like that. What are these lads on about?" But they're not there. No. They're not there, and there'll be people within farming community listening to it. Well, I know that we've got farmers who've shared stuff with us, who'll know you, who'll say there's nothing to it. It's all there. Police officers coming to us, all sections, lifeboatmen, all sections of society of sharing their experiences. If somebody says, "Don't say who I am," it's a given. Say it's a lifeboat man. It could be a lifeboat man in Witheransea. Do you know what I mean? It's there's a lot of space for lifeboat men to operate. It doesn't mean it's from Bridlington or Flamborough, does it? So, but we're getting information from all sections of society. Ian's been told stuff by lots of different people, farming community, people just knock nails in wood. It's just there. And it must be frustrating for disbelievers because it's all we're doing most of the time. We know we're up there experiencing, but most of the time we're just sharing other people's experiences.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're nearly there, lads. It's nearly 2026. We'll be seeing you all next. I don't think we'll get back on, will we, till then? I see. Thanks for doing. I see Dave Barker's in, Mag Sue, Prairie, Zeno, Mark Doherty. Thanks, Mark. That's really kind of you. And everybody else that's contributed. Martin sent us some money for a round of beer. We're going to have to go out now and have some beer.
Does that mean you're Martin's paying through you and you're going to have to get your hand in your pocket?
It's looking like that, isn't it? Been filming some unusual light forms off the coast of Seaburn the last month or so. Have you guys been catching much orbs? We haven't, 40, no. Not the orbs phenomena. You know what it is?
Friday, me and Chris saw one just near the hill.
All right, okay. No, I didn't see that.
Briefly, just a small little sparkler.
I remember you on about it now, yeah.
Yeah, that was just there. I mean, I had my thermal on my neck and it was switched on, and as soon as I moved it up, it went. You missed it, but me and Chris Mack saw it.
Right.
Just a couple of rabbits in that area, but it certainly wasn't a rabbit.
I tell you what, I was watching the other day, and it was done by Ross Coulthard. I watched it last night, and it was about 30 East Drive at Pontefract.
Okay.
And the phenomenon, what they're catching is little spheres everywhere before something kind of, manifests or whatever. They've been catching these little spheres all over the place. It's quite interesting.
We used to have them, a lot of them little sparklers in the grass and on the paths and in the cliff. You'd see these little sparklers, but that seems to have sort of died down a bit now. It's like we were saying earlier, things seem to be in patterns where the shadow being type thing, the orange lights over a sea or inland.
And it's closer.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll have to change the name of the channel to The Truth That Leaves Proof. All we'll do, just like everybody in chat now, we'll just keep gathering, guys, and we'll go through into 2026 and out at other side of it, God willing, and we'll see you guys. Bookmark, thank you. Merry Christmas. And I'm sure...
This is all your drum, isn't
it? So I'm just looking here, and I think your Mia Girl's in. I don't think we said Mia Girl earlier, did we? So, hi, Mia Girl. Have a good Christmas. Clifftop Pete. Well, we'll see you very soon.
Hello, to each other half.
Yeah. So, I all winter solace always special. Sad as my mother was born on the longest day. June died 2015, the longest day. But it must have meaning. Yeah, I'm sure it must. So, we're just about there, guys. And I'd just like to say, Ian, thank you. Lee, thank you. We've
Real
kicked
pleasure.
a few ideas about. Thank you very much.
Thanks for all your support, everybody. When I'm in the chat and I don't always say hello, it's not because I'm ignorant. I'm probably usually sat there having my tea, or I'm just watching it. I'm not the fastest of typers, and so just hello to everybody in the future, and thanks for your support, and happy Christmas, everybody, and happy New Year.
Yeah. I'd just like to say thanks for everybody who's tuned in this year and past to Truth Proof. I know I give it all my backing because it's the best channel about the paranormal on here. It's very genuine. The guys, when you go up there, are very welcoming. I mean, from day one, since meeting Paul, he's put me under his wing and, invited me into his house. I've met the family on most of them, and I can't thank him enough. He's fed me, he's watered me. He's just brilliant.
We do that with everybody.
Have a Merry Christmas from me, anyway.
Thank you very much. Everybody gets made welcome, regardless whether the meter's on cliff tops or whatever. And that's why I went out last night when Andrew came. I thought I'd just spend a bit of time with him. So yeah. And
in fact, I'm going to give you a round of applause. A round of applause, everyone, for Paul.
No, it's good. It's good. Everybody, right? Good night. See you later, lads. Good night.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you.
Right, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Saw it twice. So I was like, oh my god.
That was just weird.
I always used to see a light coming up,
Yeah.
like a headlight, but there was nobody there.